guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny, and as always, I thank you very much for choosing to spend some time with me. As the title of this video suggests, I do have some midsummer sewing inspiration for you this week, but before we get there, I just wanted to share with you what I'm wearing today, which is this right here. This is the Vogue 1731 Marcy Tilton pants. I believe this is out of print now. I'm almost 100% sure it's out of print. But many of you recommended this to me, and I have now made both the pants and the skirt. These pants here are in a cotton poplin that I purchased from Fluid Plus Drape. I love this fabric. I love this color. I love these pants. So I'm really glad you guys talked me into this because I've now made the skirt and also the pants, and I will make both of them again, I am sure. If you remember a few weeks ago when I was talking about the skirt, I said I made that in a size 12. It was a little small for me in the waist, so I did have to do some alterations. However, the pants here are also in a size 12, and I love the fit of these pants. They are perfect. I wouldn't want them any bigger. I'm also wearing this with my third Revel topper from Sew House 7. This one is in a lightweight linen. All right, now let's get into our inspiration. I am in the middle of summer here in Michigan, so it's hot and humid. So I am still sewing summer warm weather clothes, but I'm also really looking forward to sewing some things that are for cooler temperatures. So I have a little bit of both of those in this video. Just a little disclaimer, I use for this clip, I use my computer's microphone, so the sound quality isn't the best, and I apologize for that. But let's just get to it. Okay, so the first thing here is, I think that this is a jersey dress. It's actually a pretty simple sort of t-shirt type design, and it has, I'm almost 100% sure that this was actually reversible, like you could wear it front to back or back to front. What really appeals to me about this is not only the simple shape, but all of these stitch lines. And I thought, since I've been doing so much upcycling of t-shirts lately, I was in that frame of mind, and I thought this could be a really great way to use up a bunch of different t-shirt pieces. Or you could also just use this idea and you use the stitching lines, but I really like the idea of using these different areas as patches from different thrifted t-shirts. So I don't have, obviously, a perfect pattern for this, but I did think that the True Bias Lodo dress is really spot on for the shape. And it would not be terribly difficult to cut the pattern itself into pieces and use those for your patchwork, or to just patchwork some fabric together and then place a pattern on it and cut it out. Either way, I think you get that same sort of effect. And I really love this idea. The next one is a really simple dress, you guys, and I feel like I probably show this in my inspiration videos all the time, but it is a shape I just love. I think you can wear it with a lot of different things and through a lot of different seasons. I love this scoop neckline. This one is a little more fitted in the bust than a lot of them that I look at, but I like this one a lot, and I like the 3/4 length sleeves. I really love that this has like a little bit of fullness in the front, but you can see here on the right, it's pretty straight cut through the back. I also really like it with her Oxfords and socks and her wicked good eyeshadow. So for this, I have a couple of pattern suggestions. The first one is the Feel Good dress from Me and Miss Moore, which we've talked about before because I made this dress maybe a year ago. I really love this dress. It has all of the details that I like in our inspiration dress. This one has a slight V-neck, but that's easy to change if you don't like that. Additionally, I thought you could also use the Everyday Chic dress from So Different UK. It's very similar in shape. It looks to me like the sleeves might be a tad bit wider, But I do like this like sort of boat neck with a slash front as a variation on the neck. I thought that could be really cool. Aside from that, I think you'd really just lengthen this dress and you'd have something very similar to our inspiration. And I really like both of these dresses. I've never made the So Different dress, so I don't really know how that fits or anything. But I can say the Feel Good dress by me and Miss Moore is really kind of perfect for this. Okay, next up is another thing that I know I've talked about before, especially like in fall and winter, the oversized like hoodie, sweatshirt, jacket thing. This one has a double zip, so it zips upwards and it also zips downwards. I really, really like, mostly what I like about this is I like this sort of bubble shape at the hem. Now, I don't have a lot of pattern suggestions. However, I did think we could use Butterick 6863, and I can't, it's Butterick, so it's either Marcy or Catherine Tilton. I'm sorry, I can't remember which now. It does not have the bubble shape, but I have made this, and it's a good oversized sweatshirt. It was a fun, pretty standard, easy make. I made mine with a double zip, so it zips up and zips down. Now, it doesn't have the bubble hem, and it's not long, but I was thinking, if you lengthened this to like below the knee, you could have like this interesting like hem detail that you see in this one, which would maybe take the place of the sort of bubble hem in the original photo. Or I do also have this Fibre Mood Maggie coat pattern. Now, I've never made this, even though I've had it for ages. And I thought this was actually like kind of perfect. You could just make this and make it in a sweatshirt fabric instead of a coating fabric. Now, the only thing is for either of these, because you're making something longer with a little bit of volume to it, I think if you're going to use a sweatshirt or a French terry fabric, you want it to be pretty stable. So I personally would avoid anything with like a lot of spandex or anything with rayon. Spandex is just going to make it really heavy. Rayon, I think at this length, a rayon is just going to pull itself right out of shape. So those are just my thoughts. I would stick with something like a cotton sweatshirt fleece or a cotton French terry, something like that. You can have a little spandex in there. It's not the worst thing. It's just that spandex does make those make longer garments pretty heavy. Next up is this, it's just a really simple shirt, and it's sort of a white on white photograph here, so I apologize. So really, the important thing here is it's an oversized shirt, and it just has this tie detail at the sides. I really love this detail. I think I talked about this one in a previous video also, but in that case, it was a sweatshirt. So for this, I thought really just using a standard shirt pattern. Of course, I would go with the Assembly Line Oversized shirt because I have it and I love it. I've made that pattern a couple of times and I love that pattern. I think if you took something like this and just cropped it high hip-ish and then put a casing around the bottom. So you wouldn't have a shirt hem, you would just have a straight hem across, and put a casing across the bottom for your ties. And I think you would have a pretty close replication of the inspiration there. Okay, next up is these pants. These are a pretty sort of standard, slightly barrel leg pair of pants. These are pull on, but you can see here that what I love about them is all of this cool like top stitching detail. So for something like this, I thought my number one choice would be the Matchy Sewing Club Archer work pants. Faith made me a pair of these not that long ago, and I have to say I do really love these pants, although I have not made a pair myself. What I love about these is because they have some nice details in them, they wouldn't have the same top stitching details as the inspiration photos, but there are plenty of places in here for you to put your top stitching details. For example, at the knee, like right here, and on the inseam where you have that stripe, that second piece of fabric, and also at the back along the cuffs. And if you look, the pockets on these are pretty much exactly like the ones in the inspiration photograph. They're just up at a normal pocket height instead of at the knee. Along with the top stitching detail, I'm going to move into this one. This is a popover dress. Again, with it's got a nice full silhouette just below the knee, a kind of a looser sleeve as well, and it has some really cool top stitching detail. So for this, I thought the Maker's Atelier Flip color shirt could be really perfect because it doesn't just have an option for top stitching at the front, around the neck, and around the high waist there, the umpire kind of waist there. It also has options. You can see in the picture on the left here, it has an option for a seam down the center portion of the back bottom. Right down the center of the back bottom, there's a seam, or there isn't a seam, depending on what you like. And it can have buttons or it cannot have buttons, also depending on what you like. All of those places are really good places to add some really cool top stitching. For a slightly more simple version, I also really like the Merchant & Mills Francine top or dress. This is definitely a more straight fit, so if you like something with a straighter fit as opposed to a looser fit, then this might be a better choice. You could also do this and to make the dress in this, it's extending the top, but you could also just add a skirt portion so that you have that waist detail if you wanted it. Again, lots of places on here for good top stitching detail. Okay, and last but not least, we have another sort of t-shirt type dress. This one is sort of a boxy fit. It is not actually really boxy through the shoulders. You can see it's a little more fitted there. Sort of a boxy fit through the sleeves and the bodice, and a slight maybe A-line shape to the skirt. But again, what I really love about this is the mix of fabrics. Again, you could use upcycled t-shirts for these variations. I have a couple of suggestions, although nothing really quite fit this bill exactly. I do have this Ringstrand Jersey shirt dress, which already has some seams within the pattern, so you could mix and match your fabrics really easily, although that would also not be hard to do on a different pattern. And then I was also thinking this the Paper Theory block tee could be really cool to do something like this because it has these really cool square cut armholes, so you could really make use of different fabrics to sort of emphasize that. If you wanted this to be a dress too, I don't have this pattern, so I don't know how hard or easy it would be, but it seems like it's pretty square cut, so you might be able to just lengthen this into a dress version also, or add a separate skirt portion to make it a dress version. All right, guys, I hope you all found some inspiration in there somewhere. I would be really curious to know if any of you have pattern suggestions for any of the items I talked about. I came up with patterns that I thought would work, but I'm sure there are others out there. So if you have any recommendations, please leave them for me in the comments below. That is it for me this week, you guys. Until next week, I wish you all happy sewing.